back with album review.
What's up?
What's up? So this week we are returning to Tool once again.
Oh,
This is... What was that?
nothing.
This is their final studio album as of right now. It came out in 2019. It's called Fear Inoculum. And this is... Tool's known for like having the long and like fun songs, the math rock, like changing time signatures and all that fun stuff. This is that to its most extreme, I'd say. It's almost like a classical album mixed with like rock and metal aspects to me.
I can see that, yeah, definitely.
Because like it has movements, there's different sections to each songs, and then there's the songs themselves. A lot of long songs on this album. Multiple tracks over 10 minutes. We've talked about this album a little bit before, but this is our first real dive into it.
This is my first Tool album, actually.
Hmm.
The only Tool song that I knew, at least I'm pretty sure the only one I knew, was off of this album just because my cousin had randomly played it one time. So that was the only like notion I had of Tool's music, and I really liked that song, so this album's a good one to get into.
Yeah, and my thing with Tool is when I discovered them, I knew about them before this album came out, but I didn't listen to them. And then this album came out, and the internet praised this album, saying it was a very fantastic album. And I'm like, okay, let me actually check Tool out. And then from there, I listened to all 5 of their albums. They have very few albums, but most of them are pretty freaking good. So let's see what this one's like. Let's go into the first track.
Alright, first track is Fear Inoculum.
Title track. I like this one. It really sets the mood for the album, like right off the bat.
Yeah, very good start.
Very long build up as it goes into the next section, which is him singing, and just the instrumentals are constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a really good track.
I think with a lot of the longer songs on this album, the songs kind of keep the same like rhythm and the same like main guitar melody throughout, and then it throws in different elements that like kind of evolves it as the song goes on.
Yeah, I think so too.
It was really cool to listen to on this. But for the name itself, I think like I kind of looked up what inoculum meant, because inoculum is what's inside of a syringe when you're getting a vaccine. Like it's basically like the vaccine itself.
Oh.
So fear inoculum, I guess, would be like subjecting yourself to your fears so that you become like stronger against them.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing. So that was a cool idea.
I feel like that is a common theme on this album too. It's just like self-growth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the next one is Numa.
That's my personal favorite one, is Numa.
I really like this one too. It's another long one.
Yeah, most of them are over 10 minutes. There's a few like short interludes in there, but this one is really freaking good. I love the chorus. I love the build-up of the instruments. And I love just, like, when it has, like, the long sustained note and then it just changes into a heavier sound. I'm like, damn, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, and the driving bass on this one was, like, very prevalent. Like,
yeah.
Much the same throughout the song.
Yeah, it was pretty much like the metronome of this song.
Yeah, a lot of these songs, like, normally when you're just casually listening to music, you just naturally bob your head to it. A lot of these songs, the time signatures they use, it's like, you kind of gotta, like, really focus on it and look for where, like, the rhythm is.
Yeah, it's a lot more of an active listening album. Yeah. It's something you have to, like, analyze and really just, like, really look into each track as you're listening to it. It's not something you can just throw on and be like, yeah.
Yeah, I like that about it.
Yeah.
The next track is kind of just an interlude. It's called Litany contre la peur, which I think it means litany against fear.
Okay. I do not know French, unfortunately, so I could not tell you exactly. But yeah, this is one of those interlude tracks, just instrumental. It's okay.
Some weird sounds on it, just kind of fits in with the trippy vibe of the album.
Yeah.
But that's about it. And then the next track is Invincible, which is the one song that I did know on the album before listening. And I really like this track a lot.
Yeah, this one is really freaking good, too.
And this one, more weird time signature stuff, I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like, the guitar and the drums, like, different parts of the song were playing in different time signatures. So it was, like, layered over itself. And, like, you could kind of tell, like, it felt out of sync, but then every few measures it would be lined up again, so it would match up again.
Yeah, which kind of gives me, like, a proto-free jazz kind of feeling, like where everything's just do it yourself, or again with the classical theme in here, where it's just different instruments are doing their own thing, but it all comes together very well.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more elaborate songwriting than a lot of, I guess, rock music now.
Yeah, and even compared to other Tool albums, like this is a lot more complex than like Undertow or what was the other one we did, Enema. Like those two albums are a little more simple than this, but they have like more rock and metal sounds.
Yeah, it
It's
spells weird though.
Yeah, the album is called Enema.
Yum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, at the end of the day, they have some goofy humor throughout their music, which is more prevalent in the earlier albums than this album, but Maynard James Keenan, the singer, is a pretty goofy freaking guy.
I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
The next track is Legion Inoculum, which is another
instrumental track. This one's also just okay.
Yeah, there's a few instrumental tracks in here, and all of them kind of just seem like they're fillers, taking you to the next part of content.
In fact, since the album is an hour and 26 minutes, it does not fit on one CD. So on this, they cut most of the interlude tracks.
Oh wow!
They actually just cut the bullshit right there and then, which I'm like, I like, but I don't like at the same time. It's very interesting that they did that.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably do that without really messing up any of the content
Yeah.
specifically, but I mean, I get that you're changing the whole flow of the album a little bit by doing that. So.
Yeah, so I have mixed feelings about that, on this disc in particular, at least.
The next track is another very long one. It's Descending.
Descending is another really good one to me.
This song is really good. I think like all of the vocals come in the first half of this track, and then the second half, it's just the instrumental takes over, takes you away.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, it's a really good one again.
Yep, I like that one a lot.
The next track is Culling Voices.
This is probably my least favorite of the long songs.
I can see that.
It's just really slow, and there's no real build up into like the end, and it's not really that good of a payoff for me personally. But I can see the appeal behind this track.
Yeah, and this one I didn't know what the word culling meant, so I looked that up too. But apparently that's like when they kill off large amounts of a certain species if there's like too much of that species kind of thing. So I didn't really get the deep meaning of the song from that, but I thought like I should at least know what the word meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that one was okay as well. It was long like the other ones, and it kind of followed similar formula that the long ones on this album seem to, where it's like mostly consistent for the main background elements of the song, and then it kind of evolves like throughout the song. Next one is Chocolate Chip Trip.
The longest of the interlude tracks. This one's alright too.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds trippy if that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
Trip, but
This one's kind of a mess to me personally.
it's really towards the second half of this one. It seems like it's just like the drummer kind of showing off.
Yeah.
It was crazy sounding percussion on that. And the next track is the longest track, which is, I'm guessing it's Tempest.
Yeah, Tempest, but with a 7 at the front.
Yeah.
Another one of my personal favorite ones. Very long, like over 15 minutes, but I think it's a really good song.
Yeah.
And I think it's the best way they could have ended the album. But there is one more, if I am correct.
But yeah, this one, it kind of serves as like the last track a little bit, because the actual final track, Mocking Beat, was another one that didn't have any vocals on it.
Yeah, this one's probably my least favorite song on the album. It's just like weird bird noises.
And, like distorted voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, this one's just kind of, I don't know why it was even there. I feel like Tempest would have been the best place to end the album off.
Yeah. Mocking Beat being the name makes me feel like there was some kind of joke behind it too.
Which there most likely
wouldn't
was.
get. Yeah.
But knowing what I know about Tool, it would not surprise me if that was the case.
Yeah. But that's the whole track list, 10
Yep.
songs.
So, again, pretty long for only having 10 songs on it, but I'll give final thoughts real quick. I really like this album, and I feel like I like it better than Enema, but it's probably on the same, like, playing field as Undertow, their first album for me. Although they're two very different albums. Like, this one has those really long songs, and not to say that Tool didn't have long songs back then, but none of them were like over 10 minutes like this album. but I really like it because of that. It's very different from the other ones. It has a lot more of that classical feel, which people like classical music like more than they say they do. So
subconsciously,
subconsciously, everyone is like, "Oh, wow, that's actually really good," even if it's like 400 plus years old.
Yep.
So I think this one carries that torch very well, and it's one of the best like metal classical crossovers I've probably ever heard.
Yeah, I really liked this album. It's my first full album listening to Tool, and it was a very unique experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I feel like it is just something you could listen to like in full, and it'll really just take your mind on a trip. Like,
yeah,
there's so much space in the album that like you get to kind of play around with it in your own brain while it's happening. It's on for 10 minutes, like the longer songs, so you can kind of like catch on to the little intricacies in each song, and it's really cool.
Definitely. I guess we'll go to scores. I didn't think of it a proper score till now, but I think I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I would have given it an 8, but I just really don't care for a lot of the interlude tracks. Except the first one's pretty good, and Chocolate Chip Trick is not it for me. Like, what's the other one called? The long song Calling Voices. I'm just not a big fan of that one either.
Yeah.
Those are the only few tracks that really hold it back for me. That and Mocking Beat, but like, other than that, most of these tracks are fantastic, and I would come back to most of these.
Yeah, I'm probably going to give it the same rating.
Okay.
For mostly the same reason, because there's like 4 songs on here that are interlude tracks.
Yeah.
And then kind of 5, actually. Like, there's 5 songs that don't really have vocal parts.
Yeah.
So about half of the album, the other half, was like the longer tracks that did have vocals to them. But those songs were all amazing. Like, for re-listen value, just since the songs are so long, like, you kind of have to be in the right mind frame to listen to this.
I get that, for sure.
But it's definitely a great listen from beginning to end.
Yeah. And this was Tool's latest release, and it took like over a decade in between this one and their previous album, 10,000 Days. Which we'll probably do that in Lateralis another day, because those are the last 2 Tool albums we haven't touched on. And the Opiate EP if we get around to that, which is the first thing they ever put together. So what have you got for us next week?
So I think that I'm going to pick the one that I was considering last time but didn't pick.
Okay.
So we're going to go with The College Dropout.
Oh,
by
shit!
Kanye. I feel like we're well overdue, and I know that this will probably be a big hit among whoever chooses to listen to it.
Yeah.
So.
I've actually never listened to this album in full. I've listened to a couple tracks here and there, but not the whole thing, so...
It's a long track list, and decently long in length as well, but I think that people really like this one.
I think people are going to like this one, too.
It's his first album from 2004.
Yep. So. Alright, tune in next week where we look at The College Dropout.
Sir.